Ancient family feuds and street fights, courtly wooing with love at first sight, and taking one's life to be with the one you love. These are the highlights of Shakespeare's tragedy play, Romeo and Juliet. First premiering in 1597, second only to Hamlet, it is the most frequently performed play up to this day. But the romance and violence in this tragic story of star-crossed lovers can be found in abundance in contemporary TV dramas and movies. So what keeps pulling us back to this 400-year-old play? 2 words, dramatic verse. The dialogue in Shakespeare's play can be generalized into 2 main categories, prose and verse. While the former is used to convey everyday speech, it is the latter where Shakespeare's creativity shines. He uses the rhythms of iambic pentameter, coupled with rich imagery, sensual language, and psychological insight, to give his characters a voice capable of expressing the full range of human passion. In this video, I want to talk about my favorite lines from this play, and what makes it effective poetry. Let's go in chronological order, and start with the most notable scene in the whole play, Juliet's balcony speech. Romeo has hopped the wall and sneaks into the Capulets' orchard garden at night. He sees his love, stealing a glimpse of the moon. Juliet, unaware of his presence, wonders aloud on her predicament. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself. In simple terms, Juliet distinguishes Romeo from his circumstance. It is the force of her affection for him that melts the hostilities and dissolves whatever prejudiced preconception she should have for a member of a rival family. It's real wisdom, and elevates her character above the daily strife and meaningless violence that surrounds her. Poetry can impress on the reader and listener stronger meanings to a common phrase through rich imagery. We hear so often that one of the physical sensations to falling in love is it feels like you're walking on air. Or when married persons recollect on an earlier love, they say that he or she was swept off their feet. Here's Friar Lawrence's take. A lover may bestride the gossamers that idles in the wanton summer air, and yet not fall, so light is vanity. You see how the effect of lightness is established and progresses over just a couple lines. The lover is bestriding gossamers, so light they feel they are able to stroll along the spider's silk, but not any silk reinforced in a cobweb, but the loose strand that plays along with the summer breeze. On such tenuous fabric does the lover dance, and still won't fall. The next set of lines is a speech by Juliet in Act 3, Scene 2, and has had quite the controversial history. For 2 centuries, it was routinely censored or cut out entirely on the basis of being too racy or in bad taste. It's her speech that begins with, "Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds." In it, she expresses the natural urges that accompany young love. Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night. The runaway's eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or, if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil knight, thou sober-suited matron all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my unmanned blood, bathing in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love grow bold, things true love acted, simple modesty. Censorship of this speech remained effective up through the 19th century, when the popular family edition of Shakespeare was published in 1807 by Thomas Bowdler and his sister Henrietta. In reaction to its removal, famous philosopher and literary critic William Hazlitt wrote in his Characters of Shakespeare's Plays the following: "Such critics do not perceive that the feelings of the heart sanctify, without disguising, the impulses of nature. Without refinement themselves, they confound modesty with hypocrisy." Now there's a good line of distilled prose. This next speech, also by Juliet, displays Shakespeare's power of imagination. It's in Act 4, Scene 3. Juliet returns to her chamber, about to drink the vial the Friar Lawrence gave her. But before she drinks it, she's troubled by doubts, fears, and terrors.
How if, when I am laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo comes to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no wholesome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or if I love, is it not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of the place, as in a vault an ancient receptacle where for this many hundred years the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in a shroud, where as they say at some hours in the night spirits resort? Alack, alack, is it not like that I, so early waking, what with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals, hearing them, run mad? Oh, if I wake, shall I not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefathers' joints, and pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage with some great kinsman's bone, as with a club dash out my desperate brains? Oh, look, methinks I see my cousin's ghost seeking out Romeo, that did split his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, Romeo, Romeo. Here's drink. I drink to thee. Every detail in this speech is illustrative and adds to the oncoming climax. Step by step, the creeping fears grow, and there's complementary imagery to match the rising intensity. See how she frets under the fever of horror, interrupting her own train of thought twice with terrible fancies. We go from sane, though trapped, to going mad, until violently taking one's life under the insanity, but still no rest, because she envisions being harassed in the posthumous visitings of ghosts. This is one of the strengths of great dramatic verse, and dramatic text in general. It can convey to us the complete and natural development of a sincere feeling. It shines a kind of inward light into our heart and our very being, which always remains dark and unseen. But for a moment the words, like a mirror, reflect that dark, unfathomable sea, and gives it a local habitation and a name. I want to close this video with lines from Romeo. I admit in the following lines it's not hard to imagine these spoken in the cadence of everyday speech. I think though they can serve as evidence for Coleridge's assertion about this play that the poet is not entirely blended with the dramatist. So here we go. Act 5, Scene 1. Romeo's been misinformed of Juliet's death. In desperation, he seeks out an apothecary to provide a venomous concoction to end his life. He says, "Let me have a dram of poison, such soon speeding gear as will disperse itself through all the veins, that the life-weary taker may fall dead, and that the trunk may be discharged of breath as violently as hasty powder fired doth hurry from the fatal cannon's womb." These lines are the signs of a great poet. The whole world serves as material for his invention, all its various phenomena as vehicles for thoughts that need to be expressed. At first glance, a body expelling its last breath and a loaded cannon have nothing in common. But take a deeper look. That last breath is the final evidence that a spirit was housed in that body. So the smoke that leaves a cannon after it's been shot is the final evidence that a ball was housed in that weapon. In short, it's two potent images of the trail action leaves in its wake. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. I might make another video like this, one for other Shakespeare plays or just poems in general, just like talking about certain lines that I like, or what makes the poetry effective or great. So yeah, thanks for watching.